And what did we do with them? We composed two data sets. The first data set was composed by averaging all the slices as axial or by axial plane, and we composed this kind of 2D images, and then downsampled it to the 150 by 150 pixels. And the other thing we did, we extracted only the middle slice, axial slice, and composed another data set as it's mentioned here. All or both of these data sets were fed individually to the designed convolutional neural network-based regression model. The output of this regression model is a cognitive test results specified here, specifically ADAS, MMSE, RALPH, MMT, TMT, sorry, tray-making test, and DSST. All of them, so the regression model was trained in using five-fold cross-validation technique, and predicted values were prognosticated. The next step, as we are thinking about to create a marker of a dementia to specify the structural functional association, we calculated this, denoted in Formula 1 a predicted cognitive gap, and decided to justify, can we use that gap as a marker? Or so what did we do? We decided to feed or to use the predicted cognitive gap calculated from the designed model as a input to the conventional machine learning models and binary classification conventional machine learning models to predict the final diagnosis and track the results or accuracy in terms to understand is it a valid or not marker. So here our methodology. Let's get started to the results and with results and implementation very briefly. So our first objective was related to the conducting an exploratory analysis of the data. So first of all, we needed to understand, are the data significantly different in terms of two cohorts we are working with. So here we have used a non-parametric statistical analysis to check if there is a differences in terms of distributions within the cognitively normal and demented population, and there are significantly different. And they are significantly different. However, in terms of age, they are not, which makes our prediction more or less fair. Then we move to the second objective, which is subtask, which is calculate the predicted cognitive gap from MRI images with this our designed regression model. What did we do here? We trained our designed model in five-fold cross-validation, using five-fold cross-validation techniques on both averaged brain and middle sliced images, and reported the results in terms of mean average error, or mean absolute error, and then try to compare the results of our regression model using again Kruskal-Wallis test. And we can see that there are significant differences between our cognitively normal and demented group in terms of results of our designed regression model. And finally, we needed to calculate the predicted cognitive gap and justify that we can use it as a screening tool, because the final diagnosis, it's still not here. Here was only the results of a test, which are not very informative, more or less. So what did we do to understand how we can justify the proposed predicted cognitive gap? We decided to build, as I told you before, a model, not build, just use a conventional machine learning model, standard, different machine learning models, to check if this predicted cognitive gap can be a good predictor of a disease in terms of binary classification model. And the result of this model was a final diagnosis, dementia or cognitively normal person. And the results in terms of sensitivity, specificity, and area under the curve is specified over here. what did we do next? Then we decided, as far as there are many cognitive tests available to help in diagnosis of dementia, we decided to rank our cognitive tests in terms of their predictive potential. And the ranked list is presented over here. Looking at the high results in terms of sensitivity and specificity, we can conclude that the proposed predicted cognitive gap may serve as a tool to help in screening for dementia, because it's actually very accurately segregate the healthy subject from demented ones. Thank you. We may, I guess I'm out of my time. Thank you.
Thank you, Tatiana. Thank you. Any questions? This is very interesting work, and definitely it's has a lot of benefits to the community. Just wondering if you did this clinical studies, were there the data you got, were there with some specific hospitals? Did you validate with them? Are you following up? Like, what's the continuation of your work?
Thank you for the interesting question. This data is publicly available and validated. It was collected from, if I'm not mistaken, from 53 different hospitals in the US, and the inclusion and exclusion criteria are there, the contents and all that information is collected properly. So our part was not related to the actual data. We were more into the data analysis, and yeah, our future work related, of course, to work with the 3D data as it is, and as another step is to justify maybe the usage of different cognitive tests, because there are many more there, and we use the most popular here.
Thank you, Tatiana. Any other questions? Okay, so we should move to the next topic we have. So we will move to motion tracked 3D visualization system for segmented ROI in medical imaging, and that's Maha Yagi, Huma, Zia, Hassan, Haj Diab, Ayman Elbaz, and Mohammed Ghazal. Please, the floor is yours. Hello?
Thank you very much.
Can't hear you.
Yes.
Thanks, Maha.
Yes.
Okay, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
So, hello everyone. My name is Maha Yagi. I'm a Master of Science in Electrical and Computer Engineering student at Abu Dhabi University. Today, I'll be presenting my work titled Motion Tracked 3D Visualization System for Segmented ROI in Medical Imaging. I'll first start with an introduction, objectives, literature review about the topic, then the methodology, results, and finally the conclusion. So in 2018, 17 million cases of cancer were reported worldwide, and the associated number of deaths is around 9.6 million, and around 1 in 6 deaths worldwide are due to different types of malignant tumors. Now, malignant tumors prevail in various human organs, and the most common cancer types include lung, breast, skin, stomach, and prostate cancers. Detection of malignant tumors in primary phases significantly impacts the death rate caused by this disease. For example, the 5-year survival rate for pancreas cancer in stage 1 is around 60%, whereas the rate becomes, below 20% in stage 3. Doctors use 6 imaging modalities to diagnose and treat cancer, such as CT, MRI, PET, SPECT, ultrasound, and optical imaging. And the CAD system developed in a system pipeline can be used to reveal cancerous nodules in the recent stages. However, the radiologists and physicians still need to analyze the images to validate the diagnosis in many cases. In this project, we aim to develop an interactive motion-tracked 3D visualization system for segmented ROI in medical imaging to partially overcome the limitations of other systems. The proposed system will function as a supplementary assessment tool for surgeons in evaluating, diagnosing, and visualizing tumors in the different body organs. Now, various designs for interactive CAD systems are based on segmentation of cancerous nodules using machine learning. Techniques such as computer-assisted surgical planning for cerebrovascular neurosurgery acts as an assistive tool for surgeons by offering the ability to detect cancer from CT or MRI imaging modalities of organs, such as the brain and lungs. However, the segmentation applied is based on simple filtering, leading to a loss of the detailed structure. Now, moving on to the visualization systems, nowadays, most visualization systems provide the user with 2D display. However, one of the drawbacks of such system is the lower accuracy, as it lacks the full information about the object by not including the spatial data. Thus, to increase the accuracy of the visualization systems in medicine, display in 3D has been adopted, consisting of spatial information and the mapping to display an object. Now, one of the limitations of the proposed studies in the literature is that they mostly use MRI scans as input and require the user to input the mask every time the segmentation is needed. And these systems mostly are specific to a particular organ visualization, which renders them unusable for other cancer cases. And with the revolution of technology and the extensive use of portable devices, research proposed methods that use augmented reality for segmentation and volumetric visualization. And some systems achieve the segmentation according to the motion of a cube and a remote controller. Now, HTC's Vive Tracker, which was launched in 2016, was used to bring objects from the real world to virtual reality and is suitable for estimating the 3D orientation of a user's device in medical diagnostics. Now, in this research, we propose an interactive CAD system for segmentation and visualization of cancerous nodules. The proposed CAD system begins with organ segmentation and feature extraction from the MRI dataset. An interactive slice visualization system is designed for the 3D segmented cancerous nodules using VR tracking technology, allowing the user to view the body organ interactively. So the proposed system has three main subsections: CAD system, the virtual volumetric visualization, and the 3D model slicing into 2D image. Now, the CAD system pipeline includes CT or MRI data processing, pre-processing, segmentation, feature extraction, and CNN training and classification. In a CAD system, the biopsy analysis is prepared by quantifying a specific image to compose metrics with tissue patterns compared to the various data sets of images. Segmentation is performed using Gibbs Markov random field, and then the system performs a multi-scale level analysis using the large set of features that were previously extracted to identify and segment each pixel in the image. And then based on these features, a CNN classifier is used to train and analyze the images for detecting cancerous patterns and predicting disease progression. And finally, a tenfold cross-validation of the predictive CAD system is performed to assess the reliability and accuracy of the system. Now, moving on to the second subsystem, which is the visualization system. The visualization system proposed displays the model in three axes, X, Y, and Z. And unlike some other systems, our system generates the 3D model from all the slices provided. So the slices can be input in any of the three directions, axial, coronal, and sagittal. And according to the reconstruction algorithm, the 2D slices are concatenated and interpolated to construct the body organ's full model. And the number of slices provided affects the accuracy and the depth of the model, of course. So as the number of slices increase, the accuracy of the model would be higher. So the organ is displayed using the same colors as the input images provided. So if the region of interest is marked in red, for example, it will be displayed in red. Now, for the last subsystem, in this part of the system, the 3D organ model is sliced to generate a 2D image of to display on the user's tablet for analysis and diagnosis. This allows the user flexibility for an interactive exploration of the 3D organ model by rotating their tablet. So by setting up the environment to be VR ready and attaching a motion tracker to the monitor, we could make the system motion sensitive due to the equipped set of sensors in the Vive tracker. Now, the physician can then move the monitor at any angle quickly and accordingly view the slice on the monitor in real time without any lags. The slicing process is performed by retrieving the motion tracker's orientation and position and designing a transparent plane in that specific location. So moving on to the results, during the testing stage, our system was tested and validated by applying it to the output of a CAD system aimed at segmenting brain nodules from MRI scans. The segmented 2D MRI scans of the cancerous nodules were marked with red and were input to the visualization system. The system embedded these slices into a complete detailed 3D head model and it allows the user to slice the 3D model at any angle by moving the monitor in the required direction. And the entire head model is displayed on the PC screen, but the slice is retrieved on the monitor, the handheld monitor, as shown here in the screen. These are the slices which are displayed on the monitor. And we'll see the head model here. So we were able to generate several 3D models from diverse sets of MRI slices. The 3D model from the 3D slicer was input to our visualization system built in Unity. And we were able to render the volume on the system and visualize a full 3D head model using the ray casting technique. And the rendered 3D model was able to display all the details of the brain accurately with some level of transparency, as you can see in the figures here. Now, for the slicing of the 3D model to 2D, according to the position and the orientation of the monitor attached to the Vive tracker, the tracker information was retrieved using our code in Unity. And a transparent plane at the exact position of the tracker was generated using the retrieved position and orientation. So we first retrieve the position and orientation of the Vive tracker and then generate a transparent plane at that exact position to be able to slice the 3D model. The slicing process is then performed according to the plane's location and the slice is displayed on the monitor. Hence, we were able to visualize the cancerous nodules on the screen from different angles according to the motion of the monitor, as shown in the figure at the top right here. The screen was extended to allow the user to visualize the head model on the PC screen and the slice on the monitor. And the system was also tested on other organs, including the foot and the skull, and showed successful results. Our system has a low latency of 0.01 seconds and can identify the viewing device's 3D location and orientation within a maximum of 0.2 centimeters and 2 degrees of error, respectively. The accuracy of the system depends, of course, on the segmentation pipeline, and the visualization system is as reliable as the CAD system. Now, in conclusion, we proposed a system to provide an interactive CAD system to segment and visualize cancerous nodules. The system allows physicians to explore the ROI from all angles in an intuitive way. We tested and validated our system by applying it to the segmented output of an MRI scan of a CAD system. The MRI images are then concatenated to build a detailed 3D organ. And the final system is integrated with a Vive tracker attached to a tablet to allow the interactive visualization of the 2D slices in any direction. Now, looking forward, the system will be provided to physicians for validation and testing purposes, and further improvements can be made to our proposed system to increase the efficiency, reliability, usability, and so on. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Maha. I just have a question regarding the approach you adopted in order to perform the prediction of the progression of the illness.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you manage to perform that?
So basically, the CAD, whatever the output of the CAD system is, it is input to our visualization system. So if the doctor was able to visualize the organ from all angles and at every slice, basically they will be able to track the progression of the disease from time to another by visualizing it from the in 3D space.
Okay, very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Very interesting work. Are there any other questions? Okay, So let's move to the next speaker. The title of the paper is Application of a Novel Anonymization Method for Electrocardiogram Data. And the authors are Zineb Benis and Pierre-Antoine Gouraud. Zineb, please.
Yes. Just need to. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt. I just want to remind everyone to stay tuned till the end. We have some important announcements. We will announce, the winners of the best papers, faculty, professional students, poster, and also we have also some interesting announcements about an upcoming poster. So please stay with us till the end. Thank you.
Okay, so hello, thank you all for being here. My name is Zineb Benis, and I'm a final year master student in applied mathematics, doing an internship at Octopies. Octopies is a startup that offers anonymization solutions to other companies that use and treat personal data. Today, I'm going to present a work I did with Professor Antoine Gouraud on the anonymization of time series with a practical example on ECG data. So the presentation is going to go as follow, with an introduction to present the subject, then some of the related work, and then the methodology, results, and conclusion. Now, we humans, we generate signals at all time. Our sleep schedule, our heartbeats, where we go, those signals, they have value and they can be used either, for example, for marketing and business purposes or for scientific large-scale studies, for example. And in any case, those signals, they can be traced back to us. There's been many instances of people being identified by where they were, and many papers have come out proving that ECG can be used to identify people. With this in mind, we wanted to build the anonymization methods to protect the individuals and also make the data sharing easier. Now, anonymization methods are not new and they've been around for a long time. There are two big families, generalization and synthetic data generation. In the first case, we mainly add noise to the time series, or we aggregate them in a way that it's not possible to go back to the people that generated those signals. These methods are very good at keeping the people safe, but we lose a lot of the statistical richness of the data, and it's harder to do any statistics or to understand the patterns in the data. In the second case, neural networks and the GANs are used to generate new time series by learning the distribution of the original time series. And these methods are very good, but for us, we wanted to have a method that is not black box model like the neural networks, where we can explain the reason of this or that output. And with these setbacks in mind, we built Chronos. Chronos works as follows. We start by projecting all our time series into the frequency domain. Then for each of the time series, we compute the k nearest neighbors. And using those neighbors, we build a local model around our individual and use that model to generate a synthetic time series. To add a layer of protection, we modify the time measurements and the time steps. And then we do this operation for every time series. And in the end, we end up with an anonymized synthetic data set, which here we call avatars. Now that we presented the model, we wanted to test it on real life data. So we chose the ECG signals. The data set we chose is called the PTB. It contains 14,550 samples divided in normal and abnormal types. Our methodology went into two steps. First, we wanted to prove that we can make predictions and classification with using the synthetic data for this data set. And then we wanted to prove the protection of the individuals with the various metrics. Now here we can see an example of an ECG. So at the top, we have the normal heartbeats. On the bottom, we have the abnormal heartbeats. On the left, the original, and then on the right, the synthetic data. Now at the top, we can see a very interesting sequence, the PQRST sequence. This sequence is very important because it characterizes the ECG, and it allows the doctor to make a diagnostic and to know whether the heart is healthy or not. So it was very important for us to keep this sequence intact, and that's what we can see in this example. And then in the bottom ECGs, we can see that we keep the same jittering motion from the original to the synthetic data point. So in this example, and for all the time series, we start with sensitive data that has a very high risk of re-identification, but has a high informative value. We end up with the data that has the same informative value, but a lower risk of re-identification, as we will show later. Now, graphically, we were okay, but we needed to have further proof. So we trained a model on two different data sets. The first one being the original data, and the second one being the avatars. On the first one to the left, we have an accuracy of 98%. And on the right, we have an accuracy of 95%. This proved that for this data set, we're able to use the synthetic data to make prediction and to make also other classification tasks. Now for the protection rate, to prove the protection of the people in our data set, at Octopise, we have built two metrics, the protection rates and the local cloaking. These metrics have been audited by the CNIL, which is the organism which is in charge of the respect of the GDPR in France. So these metrics, they answer to the individualization criteria. The protection rate works by associating each data point with the closest avatar to it. Then the protection rate is the percentage of times we were wrong, and when the closest avatar was not the one that was generated by our data point. So for the PTB, we have a protection rate of 87%. The local cloaking, with the local cloaking, we want to measure the density around our data point. We do that by computing the median number of avatars of synthetic data points between one original data point and the synthetic data points generated. So if we look at the graph on the left, for example, if the black point is the original data points we're talking about, and the green triangle on the circle is the one it generated, then this data point has a local cloaking of 8. Now in our data sets, we have a median local cloaking of 4. We're reaching the end of the presentation. So we've presented a method that can output synthetic time series. In this example, we've proven that we can use them as a suitable replacement for original data for diagnostic and machine learning tasks, that we can protect the people. And this data is out of the scope of the GDPR as well. And with this work, we want to push for a paradigm shift, and we want to make sure that anonymization methods are a staple in every data analysis pipeline. And with that, I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Zina.
Thank you, Zina. Sorry, go ahead, Rabat.
Thank you, Bashar. So
if there's any questions.
Yes, I have a small question regarding the validation part, Zinab. So can you tell us a little bit more about the data set that you have used in order to come up with that slide about the validation? Yes.
This one?
Or
this one?
No, the next. No, next,
this one?
Please.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay.
So we've divided our data set into 70-30%, 70% for the training and 30% for the testing. We took the 70% part and we anonymized it. So we have a version of the original data, and we have another version that is the synthetic data generated by the original data.
How many records you have, or how many ECGs, different ECGs you have?
We have
different patients, or it's...
We have 14,515 total, so like around 10,000 for training and the rest for testing.
Okay, different patients, or some of them?
I don't recall exactly, but there are a certain number of, I don't have the number to be honest, but it's a certain, it's lower than 14,000 for sure, but it's a quite high number as well.
Okay, interesting. Okay, thank you. Yeah, just to correlate, like, did you check if we are getting kind of accurate result for the same patient or not? So that was like
no, because
but you did not study this aspect, I think.
The data set we were working with didn't identify the person that generated the ECG. But that is a very good future work. Yeah, that's
I think
I'll try to do in the future.
Yeah, thank you. Very interesting. Thank you, Zina.
Yeah,
Zina,
thanks, Zina.
Go
ahead, Kautar.
So this is a very important problem, especially the anonymization. So excellent work. My question is, this approach that you have developed, have you applied it in a real life application? In your company Octopies?
We have not yet used this method for a real life application, but we've used this method on many other different data sets. We've used it for another ECG data set that is much bigger, and with 5 different categories in the testing, and it worked perfectly. We've also used it for time series with that contain, for example, the price of stocks, and up until now we've had really good results.
Very good. And another question: do you see the data in real life to be changing?
I'm not sure I understood.
So what I'm trying to say, I mean, you've trained the model here based on a data set, but in a real life application, do you expect, the data, the characteristics of the data to be changing in real life, and which would necessitate the need for retraining?
Oh yes, of course. But I think here the model serves only to illustrate that our data is similar enough to the original data. And this is really up to the person that is going to use the data, which is not, our goal is to make a data that looks like the original, that can be used for the same uses. And we do need maybe more real life experience and trials to, know the answer.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have a follow-up question, because the use of synthetic data versus real data, it's a dilemma. It really helps, but also it can be a curse. So how do you ensure that your synthetic data is actually, besides the accuracy and so on, did you run it through humans actually to see whether they see any differences? Because some of these clinical data, you can have actually humans really look at it as well.
Yes,
and give feedback. Did you do some of those tests?
It's funny that you asked this question, because earlier I was talking with Professor Ontanguro, and he has sent the results of our research to multiple cardiologists, because he works at the hospital of Nantes. So he sends the research to many other of his colleagues, and they were surprised at how realistic the synthetic data points looked. And now we are gonna maybe work on another collaboration to extract data from those cardiologists and maybe try our methods again on data that we produced.
And have you thought of so usually synthetic data is very helpful when you don't have data in the beginning. Have you thought over time, as you gain real data, to subsidize your synthetic data and retrain your models with real data? And I think this will address some of the questions that Kautar also had in terms of real data might be changing, because your synthetic data is based on a pattern from a set of time or set of a population, basically.
Yes, well, that's a future idea that we're gonna apply for sure, because well, the method is still in development and we're still adding new parameters and we're still developing it. So these questions I think are gonna come in the future. Yes.
Thank you very much, Zineb. Really interesting work.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so we're moving to the next and last, actually, one for this. I don't know if we're going to be taking a break or not, but the last one in this small session is enabling security as a service for IoT emerging technologies. As it's a survey paper, and the authors are Mariam Al-Hawamdeh and Radwan Tahboub. So please, the floor is yours, Mariam.
Yes, I'm with you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
And we can see your slides as well.
Okay, hello everyone. I am Mariam Al-Hawamda. I am a Master of Informatics student in Palestine Polytechnic University. And today I'm going to present my survey paper, which is titled with Enabling Security as a Service for IoT Emerging Technologies. The presentation will be as follows. First, introduction, objectives, and overview of recent solutions, discussions, and finally conclusions with the future work. This is a brief introduction. As we all know, Internet of Things technology nowadays is widely spread, and it's used in many and diverse fields and applications. This leads to many challenges in designing the IoT system itself. One of the basic challenges that faces the designing process is providing security as a service. Providing security as a service for IoT system means that we should provide a desired level of security against attacks and threats. This process is not easy. Why? Because there's no general agreement about IoT network architecture. For example, if we look into this figure, this figure shows the IoT 3 layers architecture. We have another architectures, for example, for 4 layers, 2 layers, 5 layers, and etc. So there's different solutions to provide security as a service. One of them is integrating IoT with emerging technologies. So our objectives in this survey was to study the convergence of IoT and other emerging technologies. When we talk about emerging technologies, we talk about artificial intelligence, deep learning, software-defined networks, and blockchain. Then to survey the recent solutions or some of the recent solutions of IoT security issue and explore the IoT security as a service. This is an overview of the recent solutions. This table, as we see, we have some proposals. The first one is an intrusion detection framework applied on software-defined IoT networks and uses the deep learning and software-defined networks technologies by uses the restricted Boltzmann modules to detect the intrusions. This paper is published in 2018. The other one is also an intrusion detection system, but it uses the artificial intelligence by applying PAT and random forest algorithms to detect and classify the intrusions. These systems have some limitations, like they have high energy consumption, and they are not suitable for resource-constrained systems. The others, the third one or the fourth one, let's talk about the fourth one. It's an AI-powered secure architecture for edge IoT. It applied the technology of artificial intelligence on an 3 layers architecture covered by AI engine. The proposal was titled or was called AI for Safe IoT. This figure shows the AI for Safe IoT. We have the 3 layers architecture, and this is the AI engines. The AI engines supported with some AI modules to secure each layer of the AI, the IoT system. We have also another solution, which is a novel mechanism to mitigate cyber attacks in IoT systems. It uses the software-defined networks and the network function virtualization to mitigate cyber attacks. It applies on virtual honeypots. We have also secure IoT architecture that's leveraging the features of software-defined networks. It uses lightweight security protocols to encrypt and authorize the process. This system is good for resource-constrained systems, but it defends the system from some specific attacks like DDoS attacks, but it's not evaluated against other types of attacks. The last one is a secure wireless mechanism. It applies blockchain on the industrial IoT architecture that uses smart sensors. And applies the concept of blockchain to secure the industrial IoT system. If we go to discussions, to integrate the IoT system with technologies, we have to look to 3 points or to 4 points. The first one is, what is the desirable application that you want to make? What are the available capabilities that you have? And what is the required functionalities from your system? What is the level of security that you want to provide? These questions, if we answered on them, we can develop or design our IoT system and integrate it with some of the emerging technologies. If we look to these points, if we have a resource-constrained system, we can use or integrate IoT with lightweight security protocols. But if our system has high resources, we can integrate it with deep learning techniques. From other points, if we need to depend on an existing IoT system and we need to modify it, just modification, we can use AI techniques like we see in the AI for Safe IoT. But if we will do a radical change in the system architecture, we can use deep learning if the system is have high resources, and lightweight system if the system is resource constrained. For the conclusions, we have recommendations to design the IoT system by integrating it with the emerging technologies. To develop a secure IoT system, we should define the nature of the desired application. We should choose the technology that corresponds with the desirable application, the available capabilities, and the security challenges. For the future work, we have an idea to design a secure IoT system for smart metering. Smart metering is one of the applications of smart grid, and we will follow the recommendations to design secure IoT system. The smart metering system is a high resources system, and it now exists, so it needs some modification. So we will integrate IoT with AI, leveraging the features of SDN to control and monitoring the system. Thank you for listening. These are my references.
Thank you, Mariam. Very nice presentation. Any questions? So, Mariam, how do you think? I'm sorry, go ahead, Rabab.
Just a small kind of question, Mariam. So what would be, based on your readings and experience, the role of blockchain in securing IoT? So we can see that today blockchain is kind of a trend in for many applications.
Yes, blockchain is a trend today. Blockchain is depending on the integrity concept. So there's the data will be divided to records, and the process also will be divided to records. The blockchain is or aims to ensure of integrity of the data of these records. So no one can be edit them or modify them. This is one of the aims of blockchain.
Yeah, and I think that this may help, you know, into
Yes,
the
integrity is one of the
analysis and the
basics.
integrity of the collected data. and
Yes,
so on.
sure,
Where
sure.
is where is the layer of the security that you would apply the blockchain? Is it in the edge, or where in the IoT device itself? Where is it exactly in your infrastructure?
I did not apply the blockchain, but if I refers to the solution that I previously presented, a blockchain is applied on the perception layer, on the smart sensor layer,
Okay.
which is the lower layer.
Okay. Dr. Bushra, you wanted to ask her a question.
No, I think it was covered a little bit in between some of the questions, but I have actually thought about another question. So if you were to recommend, because this is also, if I may, this is a survey paper. So
Yes.
what are the recommendations that you have, like in a nutshell, like what, like for people to really secure applications in IoT, what's like the big takeaway? Basically, I'm looking for the big takeaway.
I think that I provided some recommendations. Like if your system is resource constrained systems, you have not a lot of resources, you can use lightweight security protocols. There's nothing we can't say that this is mechanism is the best or this is better than that. But if your system is resource constrained, for example, you can use lightweight security protocols. But if your system is high resources, you have high resources, you can use deep learning techniques. And there's another point.
Yes, yes, I understand from the resource perspective, you would go from for a lightweight versus a heavy techniques or
Yes,
heavy on compute techniques. But here the concern is really the security. So how do you ensure, even when you're going on a lightweight security protocol for those resource constrained systems, to ensure that there is actually the level of security that is required? Are there any recommendations for that? Because for high resource systems, you can go very sophisticated, you can go with very complex deep learning blockchain algorithms and so on. But for always the challenge is these resource constrained systems, especially like edge devices and things like that. Especially if you have seen lately, there were lots of attacks on IoT systems in the US. And it actually touched some of the, you know, like they had some lightweight security, I would say, protocols and not sophisticated ones. So how would they update and really address some of these issues?
Maybe we can use the newest lightweight protocols, and perform the concept of confidentiality, integrity, and availability. We have to provide these concepts, this level of security. There are maybe we can use some updates where we can update our policies to keep with the attacks the existing attacks. I think in that way we can provide a good level of security.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I believe with this, let's move to the next section, because we're kind of like running late in terms of time, so we want to catch up. So we're not going to be taking a break. And the next paper is Bitcoin price forecasting, a linear discriminant analysis with sentiment evaluation. And it's a paper by Ikhlas Gorib, Firuz Kamalov, and Linda Small. The floor is yours.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
For some reason, just give me a second. I want to turn on my video.
Okay, there should be on your, there we go.
So I
We
think
can
my-
see you and we can hear you and see your slides. Please go ahead, Firuz.
Okay, so first of all, thank you very much for inviting me to this wonderful conference. I will be talking about forecasting the Bitcoin price using linear discriminant analysis with sentiment evaluation. This paper is, I'm presenting the paper on behalf of my co-authors, Ikhlas and Linda. So I want to make it clear that we have a women co-author. So let's see. The agenda is very straightforward. I'm going to give a brief introduction and then tell you about the objectives of the work, a little bit about what other people have done in this area, the methodology, and then the results. I think most of us have heard about the skyrocketing Bitcoin price lately. Here's the graph of, in orange, at the top, you can see the price of Bitcoin. You can see it's in 2021, it's been going up very much. And that really prompted a lot of people to take a second look at Bitcoin. And there's a lot of research, and not just in Bitcoin, but in about cryptocurrencies in general. And you can also, so what we decided to do is see if we can try to predict the price of Bitcoin using, and so, predicting the price of Bitcoin or any other financial asset is a very old topic. But one thing that we wanted to incorporate in this predictive model is the tweets related to Bitcoin price. So we wanted to analyze the sentiment of the population based on tweets, and using the information from the tweets incorporated into this prediction model. And you can see from the bottom graph that the number of tweets around 2021 has been really going up. So there's a lot of information that we can work with. So the objective of our project is twofold. Number one, we first wanted to analyze the sentiment in the Twitter related to Bitcoin price. So that's our first goal. And then the second goal, use this sentiment analysis together with some other input variables to create a prediction model that will tell us the direction of Bitcoin price in the next day. So we're not trying to forecast the actual price. So it's not a numeric forecasting. We're just trying to predict whether the price will go up or down. And that's a much easier task than predicting the exact price. So it's kind of I would say it's a classification problem. So like I said in the beginning, this is not, we're not the first people who looked at forecasting cryptos. There was one paper by Lamon that used logistic regression. And then there was another paper by Rohani and Abedin that used SVM, and also, and both of these papers also used sentiment analysis, just like we did. But the difference is that both of these papers and most of the papers in this area, they only looking at sentiment analysis from the polarity point of view, meaning is they just look at whether the sentiment is positive or negative. What we did is we, in addition to the polarity we also looked at subjectivity of the tweets. So we in our sentiment analysis, we also try to evaluate how subjective the tweets are and incorporate that in our prediction model. So that's kind of the new thing that we try to bring in to our project. And also we use the linear discriminant analysis, which is a popular method in the financial sector. So that's a second kind of innovation that we are bringing in this project, which is different from the previous works. So the steps for our project are pretty straightforward. First, we collect and clean the Twitter news headlines related to Bitcoin. So normally when you look at a Twitter headline, it has all kinds of extra garbage like tags and some other stuff. So the first thing we had to do was to clean all that stuff up so that we only have pure text. And then we took the pure text and then used it for sentiment analysis in the second step. And in our analysis, we evaluated the tweets based on the polarity, like I said, subjectivity, and there's one more criteria that comes in with the software that we used, which tells us the positive, negative sentiment. And then, so after we perform our sentiment analysis, we combined the sentiment scores with some other input variables like the opening price, the high, low, closing price, the volume of the Bitcoin from the previous day, and use that as an input to our prediction model. And our prediction model was based on LDA. And like I said, our goal was to use the data from the previous day to predict the direction of Bitcoin price in the next day. So that's our methodology. Here's a quick look at the sentiment analysis. So each point represents a day, Twitter headlines from one day, from a single day. So this point represents Twitter news from a single day. You can see there is some kind of a relationship between the subjectivity of the Twitter news and the polarity. For example, the news which have low subjectivity, so the ones over here, right? They also have very low polarity. Okay, but the news that are highly subjective, right, which are on top, they're also they're more polarized. You have lots of you have some tweets that are highly positive and some of them highly negative. So there's some relationship between subjectivity and polarity in the Twitter news related to Bitcoin. This is the sort of this is the input. This is the table of the inputs that we use for our prediction model. So you can see that so each row corresponds to one sample. So our input for the prediction model consists of opening price, high price, low price, the volume of the Bitcoin traded, the market cap, the number of tweets for that day, the polarity, subjectivity, negative, neutral, and positive scores. So for each day, we collect this information as the input, and based on this input, we want to predict the direction of Bitcoin price for the next day. So we take this data and we run it through the LDA model, and these are the results, which are summarized in the table. You can see that the macro average. So macro average is the unweighted precision is 0.837. The recall is 0.840. F1 score is 8.28. So these are pretty high numbers if you compare it to the literature. And just to validate the use of sentiment analysis, we took the same data but without the sentiment scores. So basically, if you look at the table, so without using the Twitter news, so only using the opening, high, low, volume, and market cap as the input variables, if we run those input variables, so again, without the sentiment analysis variables, if we run those input variables through the LGA model, you get much lower scores. So the macro average, for example, for position is 0.822, and that's lower than these numbers, 837 and 840, where we used sentiment analysis. So that's it. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Firouz. Very interesting topic and timely, of course, with Bitcoin reaching record highs. So did you, there's one question I have here in terms of how did you pick the tweets so that it really represents, that's really like Bitcoin related. So what, maybe I missed that, maybe you did that in your presentation, but that's the kind of like one of the key things here in your research, is that how did you identify what is the data that you need that have high correlation with with the Bitcoin prices that can drive the Bitcoin prices, basically?
Okay, so that's a good question, but it's not a good question for me, because to be honest, the Twitter data was collected by Ikhlas, one of the co-authors. So to be honest, I don't remember how exactly he was identifying which tweets are related to Bitcoin. I'm sure there's some sort of a database where you can just get it, but I would double check with my co-author and I will get back to you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions to Firouz?
Yes, perhaps I can give an answer for your question, Bushra. Generally, there is a Twitter application that we can install, and we provide the keywords. And in this case, the keywords will be bitcoins and price, and we can the application give all the tweets that deal with the keywords.
Yes, thanks, Layla. This is very nice of you to answer the question. But what I was suspecting is that sometimes the data, like what what Feroz and his team are after, are usually data in the news, right? So because it's really understanding how the market is moving, so that people, how they react to the market, how the things are reacting. Is it like from news and how they tweet about the news, if they hear things moving up and down, and not necessarily, they might not use the word Bitcoin in the tweets.
Yeah.
They might miss those tweets.
Yeah, in general, we have a bank of words related to bitcoins, and we use all these keywords as entry.
I think when you're making a tweet related to Bitcoin, you probably use the Bitcoin tag or hashtag. Like there's like a special symbol.
Yes,
Bitcoin. So that means that this tweet is somehow related to Bitcoin. So I think Ikhlas, he was using that hashtag to identify the tweets.
Okay, so it was really mainly like looking at specific tweets that are only on Bitcoin, but you might have missed other tweets that actually are related to the topic, but they're not using Bitcoin. Sure. And that's what I was looking for, because a lot of these markets, especially when forecasting and looking at trends, they not necessarily are talking specifically on the topic, but things that are related to it and can drive actually the market. But thank you very much. This was a very interesting topic.
I have a question. So it is about Bitcoins. you said that you enhanced the results, you improved the results using the tweets, but how can you be sure that the tweets are trusted?
So
they're fake news.
I think if I remember correctly, when I was looking at the actual tweets, they were coming from like informal news outlets. So I think there, it wasn't just like random people. I think we were looking at well-regarded sources when we were analyzing tweets. So that's one thing. And the second thing, even let's say hypothetically, if you were using fake tweets, right, like fake news, but that gives you an improvement in your predictive model, then I don't know. So then that means that fake news help you to make better predictions, and ultimately that's kind of what you care.
So that probably gets us in another topic, but of how actually fake news might also drive the market in a different direction.
Okay, thank you. So there are like official sources or official tweets.
So I will, I don't want to like say stuff that I don't understand very well myself. I will double check with my co-author and get the exact details of where he got because he was the one who sourced the tweets. I'll ask him to give me the details, and then I'll be happy to email you with the details.
Okay.
Thanks, Feroz. I think that will be nice. We're gonna be
you
moving
can
on.
put your email in the chat box or
Yes.
to the one who, so that you can keep in touch with the and
Sure,
follow up discussion.
Yes, I will include my email.
Attract your attention to these points. Not necessarily, I don't want to have the exact answer, but I think you should give this point enough attention. Just an advice.
Thank you, Dr. Leila.
Yes, agreed. Okay, so maybe we can keep this discussion going offline, and maybe we can move to the next topic. And Leila, this is one of your students. So blockchain solution to improve trust in crowdfunding systems by Iman Zine and Leila Ben Halima. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. I will share with you my presentation.
We can hear you, but we can you share your screen, please?
Yes. One minute, please. Can you see my presentation now?
Yes, we can.
Hello everybody, my name is Iman Zine, and today I will present for you my work about sorry, I have can you see okay, now it's good. My work about blockchain solution to improve trust in crowdfunding systems. I am a PhD student in Mohammedia School of Engineers in University of Mohammed Sankey University in Rabat of Morocco. First, we will start with the agenda. I will start with introduction, then a quick presentation of blockchain technology. Then we will speak about improving trust by blockchain technology in some application areas. The existing crowdfunding solution based on blockchain. Then we will present our blockchain solution for crowdfunding, which is composed from with the proposed process, proposed system architecture, and the proposed blockchain structure. And finally, a conclusion and the future works. So the word crowdfunding is composed with two words, which with two words. Sorry, can I switch the PC, the ordinator? I have trouble with this one.
Sorry, Iman?
Yeah, I have some trouble here.
Sorry, are you having trouble with this computer? Do you wanna, if you're gonna be switching, we might move to the next paper and come back to you. If that's
just 1 minute, please. I will just change. I will share.
Okay, so
we can see your
let's do
presentation, Iman. We can see your slides.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But can you move? I think she might have some problems moving through the slides. Is that the problem you're having?
This is my problem. I want just to stop the sharing and go back.
Okay,
so you want to stop the sharing and then share again?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, now it's good. You can see. Now it's good.
Yes, we can see your slides. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry for this interruption. So the crowdfunding is a board term, which means the process of raising funds and usually small amounts from a large population, known as the crowd to fund a business project. Crowd, it means here people. For business, as I said, for business project, cause or other financial need through a specific platform. There are many crowdfunding platforms. Some of these platforms are based on blockchain technology. This technology creates a new basis of trust for businesses, for business transactions that could contribute to a considerable simplification and acceleration of the economy. The feeders of blockchain can solve the security and trust issues and provide consistent transmission and management protocol for data in different application domains. So if we speak a little bit about blockchain technology, a blockchain consists of several blocks in which contains a single data record which is stored in the node of each participant. Since the blocks are chained together via their hash codes, the information on the blockchain is immutable, which makes it possible to obtain information of origin and to follow the changes of states at each moment. The consensus mechanisms. The goal of this mechanism is in the decentralized network based on public blockchain is to let network members agree on the current state of the transaction history without trust between these various stakeholders, which are the network nodes, and in the absence of centralized entity responsible for updating this register. And also, we don't forget to speak about smart contracts, which are irrevocable computer programs most often deployed on a blockchain that executes a set of predefined instructions. In fact, the smart contracts are in IT domain is like a paper contract. And during the execution of the smart contract, all validation steps are recorded in the blockchain used. This process secures all data by preventing their modification or deletion in posteriori. In this technology of blockchain. In the the technology of blockchain is used in many areas, such as healthcare, supply chain, and energy. And there is more, and thanks to their aims such as transparency and immutability, this technology has improved the trust in data, and also in the field of finance, crowdfunding has emerged in a rapid way to solve the dilemma for small businesses or persons to raise funds at the cheapest cost. Many crowdfunding systems based on blockchain exist, and they offer many advantages such as eliminating intermediaries, the use of smart contracts to reduce the risk of litigation since everything is automated and verifiable. The blockchain also provides a robust decentralized way for information to be stored in immutable blocks. In the existing crowdfunding solution based on blockchain, we can find that that all the time the donor can see all requests and initiate the transaction by sending his public key to the chosen beneficiary. Also, to initiate a transaction in an instance of the smart contracts is created. Once all conditions are met, the smart contract executes specific programmed action and it is added to the block. Also, when a block is validated, it is added to the blockchain. The transactions are recorded in a perpetual and immutable ledger. The beneficiary can also confirm that the request of the donor after receiving a request via the sharing of the public key by the donor. This is a general process that we can find on all existing crowdfunding solutions based on blockchain. Unfortunately, this existing solution, the beneficiary receive the donation money. And also, recently, donors are becoming few to participate in donation crowdfunding because they do not have enough trust to send money without knowing that it will be well transmitted and used well by the beneficiary, which creates a lack of confidence. So, in our solution of crowdfunding based on blockchain, we propose that all beneficiaries have to specify the nature of their charity requests and detail each element by presenting codes. Also, the beneficiary never received the donation money because it used to pay the stockholders which are going to execute beneficiary's requests. Once the stockholders execute the request and the beneficiary request is done, donor gets notified by the blockchain platform. The whole system is transparent and keeps track of every transaction. This next slide here, an image that I will. It's an example that will explain this solution. First, we have as you can see, we can see the beneficiary will register in our platform. Then he will submit his requests. In the blockchain system, we have two actions. First, it's the validation of his request by when the beneficiary presents all his documents and the codes that he needs that he needs to validate his requests, and for the publication of this request after validation in the platform. Then donors can see this request and can make donation. After that, here, for example, I choose the example of medical need. There is a doctor, transporter, and hospital which represent the stockholders. They will contact the beneficiary to respond to his requests. And after satisfying the request, of course, they will receive, the stockholders here will receive the donations, and the donors will receive the notification. The proposed architecture here is based on 4 layers. The first layer is application layer. It is an interface that will allow all the interaction between pay which are the beneficiaries, and payers, which are the donors, as users with the crowdfunding platform from registration to sending the donation and receiving it. The second layer is the trust layer. This layer is composed with two essential elements, which are the consensus algorithms, which is responsible for achieving the verification of donation request validation ordering the blocks and ensuring everyone agrees on it. And the smart contracts will guarantee the trustworthiness of the data submitted by the beneficiaries. Here we are going. We think about the verification of all the data that are submitted by the beneficiaries. And the third layer is the blockchain layer. Here the blockchain can store all the private documents on the one single chain. This layer also stores the hashes of transactions made by donors, organizations, and beneficiaries against their public and private key address. The last layer is the storage layer. The storage layer is the lowest level, which is primarily used to store all actual data values of requests. The digital signature is used to verify the authenticity and integrity of the data values by hashing the data and the data stored in the blockchain layer. Here we are going to focus a little bit about the blockchain structure. The proposed blockchain structure here, as you can see, is composed from here at the first side we can see the Genesis block, which store the ID of the request and the hashes of documents presented to support the beneficiary request. And once it's validated, each transaction made by a donor will be stored also in the block. So we have here another block who contains the information about another donor, until we have n blocks which create our blockchain network. And finally, the crowdfunding presents challenges in terms of use, trust, and privacy. The adoption of blockchain technology in crowdfunding contracts could provide much needed solutions, such as a simple and secure way to exchange information and transfer funds. In this paper, we propose an architecture of crowdfunding based on blockchain technology, which provides security, immutability, and transparency of data. We are in the process of developing this solution, and we started by installing Ethereum blockchain on a server. As a future work, we are going to we are working on developing the trust and blockchain layers, and we aim to developing our solution in a real environment. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Iman. Any questions for Iman? I have a quick question. This is very interesting to application and bringing actually the good for the community as part of this. So is there any, this proposed solution, was there adopted? Is there any application? Is there, or is there any plan to use it?
Of course, we are searching. We are working with an association to implement this solution. We are just waiting to have the light green to discuss further this application with them.
Okay, great. Good luck with that. Any questions for Iman? Okay, so let's move on to the next presentation, and which is the last presentation for the AI/ML track. Hyperledger Base Secure Firmware Updates Delivery for IoT Devices by Miriam Bittayeb, Qasim Nasir, and Manar Abu Talib. Miriam, please go ahead. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Doctor. Can you see my slides?
Yes.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Mariam Bittayeb, and I'm here to present my work about Hyperledger-based secure firmware update delivery for IoT devices. So this is the agenda of my presentation. We'll start by the introduction. So Internet of Things are objects that are connected to each other. And so according to Cisco, by 2022, there will be a 1 trillion devices that will be used in our home in the future. So what is firmware? Firmware is the software inside the IoT devices that control the functionality of these devices. And there will be a need to update this firmware or software in the IoT devices in order to increase the reliability and security, and in order to fix any existed bugs. And also it's a cost efficient, and to add any new features to the IoT devices. So according to Open Web Application Security Project, WASP, the insecure firmware update is one of the top 10 IoT vulnerabilities. So for example, the current way of sending the firmware update is done in a centralized matter from the vendor to the IoT devices. But what if an attacker try to send a fake firmware update? Then he will have a full access and control of this IoT devices in your home. So that's why we can't use the centralized architecture, because it is a single point of failure, it is not secure, and it can cause network traffic. So this will lead to the contribution of this paper, which is design and implement the blockchain architecture that will securely deliver a firmware update to the IoT devices and validate the integrity and correctness of the firmware file. So why we used blockchain technology with the IoT devices in order to securely download the firmware update? It's because blockchain have the following characteristics. There is no third-party involvement. There is no single point of failure. It is transparent, secure, and also like if anyone try to change anything in the ledger, it cannot be done. So there are some prior work related to our topic, and this four are the most like near to our title. So in the first work, you can see that they used client-server model, but for us, we used the peer-to-peer network model. For the second work, they did not check the integrity or the correctness of the firmware update file before downloading it to the IoT devices. But for our work, we used a verification code in order to check the integrity of the firmware file update before sending it to the IoT devices. For the third paper, they used Ethereum blockchain, which is a public block network. For us, we used Hyperledger, which is permissioned network, which will authenticate the users before entering them to the network. And they used Gateway as a hardware, but for us, we use it as a node in the blockchain network. For the last paper, they have different nodes in the blockchain network, like firmware author application server. For us, it's different, as I will show in the next slide. And also, they did not provide really any information about their algorithm. So next is our proposed infrastructure as shown in the following image. So we have three entities. We have vendor, blockchain administrator, and the gateway administrator. So for the vendor, it will provide the firmware update version, and it will have a backup of the previous firmware versions, and it will send it to the blockchain network. So then we have the blockchain administrator. It creates the users, which are the gateway administrator, any registered IoT devices, and it will manage the privacy of these users. For the blockchain gateway administrator, where we wrote our code there, it will check the firmware update and will check the integrity before downloading it to the to the IoT devices, and it will also check if it is the latest version of the firmware update or not, in order to make sure we have the latest firmware update in all the devices and they are not outdated. So this is again the flowchart explain our methodology. So when we have the firmware version check, it will check if it's up to date or not in the IoT device. If it's not, then we need, before to download it to the IoT devices, we need to check its integrity or correctness by comparing the hash, because the vendor will send the URL of the firmware update with its hash, and then in the gateway node, it will calculate the hash and compare. If they are the same hash, then we can download it to the IoT device. So now we provide a secure environment, and again, the firmware check is done in the blockchain network inside it in the gateway node. This is again another explanation of the of our methodology in a sequence diagram. So for the evaluation, we have security evaluation and performance analysis. For the security, our project protect the system from impersonation attack, as we maintain data confidentiality by sending the data encrypted and signed by the private key of the vendors. So this will ensure that the shared information are confidential, and also it's done in a secure channel. Another attack that we protect from is the modification attack, as we said that we have a verification algorithm that will ensure the integrity of the transmitted firmware update before downloading it to the IoT devices. Also, we will protect from the DOS attack, as the decentralized design ensure continuous availability. Also, for the performance analysis, we demonstrated our work in one peer, but it can have a maximum of 26 nodes. And also for the number of transactions, the Hyperledger Fabric can control up to 20,000 simultaneous transactions if we are using one peer. But if we are using multiple peers, it cannot handle more than 10,000 parallel transactions. So in conclusion, our paper implemented a Hyperledger blockchain technology that securely verify the firmware update before downloading it to the IoT device, and it will validate the integrity of the file before downloading it and make sure it is the latest version. And for the limitation of our work, the scalability, because as we said, the number of IoT devices are increasing. And as we said previously in the performance analysis, we have limited number of parallel transactions, and in future we'll have a lot of IoT devices in the homes companies. So the scalability is out of our scope. And so our ongoing work can explore using the IP camera or smart bulb like a real IoT device instead of using a Raspberry Pi, as we demonstrated our work using Raspberry Pi as IoT device. And also we can have we can download the firmware to IoT devices using over-the-air update in a real-life scenario, like using contacting a real vendor and doing it really in a real home scenario. And these are our references. And thank you.
Thank you, Mariam. Any questions for Mariam?
Thank you, Mariam, for your nice presentation. It is an interesting work. I have a quick question about performance. You said that you have implemented the solution with one peer.
Yeah, as we saw here, so we demonstrated by just using one peer. So like, for example, we have only one vendor, and we have one gateway just in our implementation.
Do you expect to have more peers?
Yeah, we can do it in our future work, like adding more peers and more gateways in order like to study the performance in a better way. But yeah, so just for the implementation and making sure of the verification algorithm used in the gateway, we wanted just to make it one.
And the blockchain, was it deployed in many peers or in one peer?
For the blockchain, also, like it's one peer.
Okay. Because one of the problem of blockchain actually are the performance. They are very they are resource consuming when we extend them, when we use them in a real context. So
Yeah.
I think it's a point that you should also take into account for future work.
Yes, sure. And also my friend Ilham Al-Qassi also like studied the performance of Hyperledger fabric network in one of her works. So like she went into details about this, how many parallel transactions that can be done in Hyperledger fabric, and even she studied the scalability issue.
Okay, thank you, Miriam.
Thank you, Miriam. Any other questions for Miriam? Okay, so with that, we conclude our AI ML track for the 7th Annual International Conference Research Day. And we thank you all for attending, and please stay tuned because there is still more. We're going to be transitioning to the poster session and Q&A session chaired by Dr. Sirin Talib from Cactus Communications in Lebanon, and Professor Rasha Morsi from Norfolk State University in the US. Please, Dr. Sirin and Dr. Rasha, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bushra, and welcome everyone to this session, which is the poster session. We have for today 3 great posters to display and to discuss the posters with the authors. It's a pleasure to be here today and to be chairing this session along with Dr. Rasha Morsi. So without further ado, we'll start with the first poster. So I'm gonna share the screen. Okay, so our first poster for today is entitled Machine Learning Assisted Driver Drowsiness Detection System. It is authored by Yaman Al-Badawi, Anisa Al-Ridahi, Safiya Muhammad, and Ali Al-Nauman. So please, the esteemed authors, are you with us today? Is there any of the authors with us?
Yes, hello, I'm Yaman.
Hello, Yaman. Nice to see you here. So please, Yaman, we would like you to summarize the work of this poster.
I'm sorry, Doctor, just can I share from my side?
Do you have like
poster? Yeah, I have like some minor changes. They weren't updated on the website.
Okay, so please go
I would
ahead.
like to share it. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
And Dr. Sirin, just a reminder that we're running very late. So if you can help us to catch up, we're supposed to be having the Manara session right now.
Sure, we're gonna like just take 5 minutes for each poster.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kauthar. So please, Yaman, you have like 2 minutes to summarize the work, and then we might have some questions to ask.
Yes. Okay, first, allow me to introduce myself and my colleagues. My name is Yaman Al-Badawi, a computer engineering graduate from the American University of Ras Al Khaimah. And this project is titled Machine Learning Assisted Driver Drowsiness Detection System. I worked on this project during my senior year with my colleagues Anisa Ridai, Safiya Muhammad, and under the supervision of Dr. Ali Nauman. So to summarize our work, in this work, we have addressed the issue of drowsiness, of driver drowsiness. So drowsiness basically is a major cause of accidents. Many fatal accidents is due to drowsiness, and it can be prevented if the driver were warned at the right time. So in this project, we have implemented a real-time image-based driver drowsiness detection system. The system uses a webcam to monitor the driver during his journey, and it detects drowsiness by extracting an eye feature called the eye aspect ratio. This feature reflects the eye openness degree. So to train our system, we have used the driver drowsiness detection video dataset from the National Tsinghua University Computer Vision Labs. And by applying different machine learning techniques like support vector machine, random forest, and sequential neural networks, we have classified the driver eyes as open or closed. So if the closed eyes were detected for a certain period of time, then the driver will be classified as drowsy and an alarm will be initiated. And that summarizes our work.
Okay, thank you so much, Yaman. I have a small question. It's regarding the novelty of the work. So you mentioned in the abstract that there are some other drowsiness detection systems. So can you please elaborate more about the research gap that you attempted to fill? So in other words, what's the novelty of your work compared to these other existing systems?
So in our system, we have, according to the experiments and tests that we have done, the system agreed and surpassed some previous research work that used the same feature, which is the eye aspect ratio, to detect drowsiness. So we have got a higher accuracy with our system. In addition, we have succeeded in detecting the driver face while wearing a mask, which will allow this system to be used nowadays during the pandemic, which require wearing a mask for a long period of time and sometimes while driving. So in addition, we are still working on improving our system. And we are planning on adding some additional feature beside the eye aspect ratio, adding maybe detecting the head movement and the yawning frequency to increase the accuracy of detection in our system. And we are planning maybe to use more than one camera or a wide range camera to get a wide frame to detect the driver more accurately. And that also will increase the final decision when detecting drowsiness. And maybe we will add a buzzer to the driver's seat that will turn on if drowsiness is detected and will help alerting the driver as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Yaman. We'll check with Dr. Rasha. Do you have any question?
Yes, hi, Yaman. So in your results, you say that you used 3 subjects, videos of 3 subjects. So that's a pretty small data set. Could you explain why you chose that number specifically?
Oh, no, actually that was in the testing. So in training, we used more than 3 subjects. During the testing, yeah, we focused on 3 subjects. And that was randomly. We chose them to test the system. So it was a random choices, but we tried to choose a different characteristic for each person. It was a ready data set, so we chose a male with a beard, maybe a female wearing glasses, and different characteristic for each person that we have chosen.
If we can show with you, I am Anissa here. If we can share with you a short demo just to explain more the idea, 20 seconds only.
Unfortunately, unfortunately, we really are behind. So we wish we had more time for this, but we really are behind. but thank you so much
Yes, okay.
for that. We
It's
appreciate
fine.
it. Thank you. I think I'm good on questions. Thank you for the answer.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so thank you so much. We will move to the second poster for today. I'm gonna also share the screen. Okay, so our second poster is Diet Recommendation System by Haneen Shribati, Safa Abdullah, and Shahid Shehi. Who is from the authors here?
Hello, it's Haneen here.
Hi, hi Haneen. So please also in like 1 to 2 minutes, just give us a summary about your work and then we can have questions.
Okay, so in this project, we worked on implementing a diet recommendation system that don't restrict users to follow certain meals, meaning that we allow the user to input his needed meal to be consumed in a day, and then we analyze those meals. Okay, so in order to improve his diet. So what we actually did is that we relied on a scoring function. This scoring function calculates scores for the user meals and for the meals in our data sets. The scores of the user meals tells to what extent each meal is healthy or not, meaning that if the meal has more vitamins, more minerals, less sugar, less fat, it will get higher scores. But for the meals for the scores of the meals in our data set, the higher the scores will be given for the meals that will fill the gaps in the user diet. For example, if the user diet, his input diet is less in has lack of vitamin A, the highest scores for the suggested meals or for our meals will be given for meals that are high in vitamin A. And if the user meals are high in sodium, the highest scores will be given for meals that are low in sodium. So we are attempting to balance the diet. So here the functions that we implemented based on our experiments. And if you can see here in the table of the green, that can you scroll down a little bit, please, Miss Sinin? Okay, so here the table, green and pink table, shows example of our work. So the first column shows the user meals. The second column shows the top scored meal from our data set, and the last column shows the user diet after improvement, after replacing one of the least scored meal from the user diet by one of the highest scored meal from the suggested meal. And here the results shows the improvement of vitamins. The red bars shows the values, the daily values before improvement, and the blue bars shows the values after improvement. So for the first couple of graphs, titled vitamin improvements and mineral improvements, most of the values after improvement, which are the blue bars, are greatly more than the old values. And for the final graph, figure 5 here.
Sorry, Haneen, I think we ran out of time. Thank you so much for your explanation. So I've got a question about the data set that you used. How large was it? And like how many samples did it include? And was it real-time data or not?
Yes, so we've collected our data set by ourselves. It includes around 500 instances of the most preferred meals in the UAE, because we are concerning about improving the diet in the UAE. And each we have around 20 features. Those features are the vitamins and minerals values of each meal. And we've tried I've tried here, if you can see one sample of the user. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Haneen. Dr. Rashad, do you have any questions?
Yes. So who's actually the target audience for this system that you're creating?
Everyone, actually. We don't concern a certain group. We are not concerning to improve a diet of certain group. Everyone can use this diet because the data set we have includes a variety of meals that everyone might prefer, and it's not restricted to certain people, but users with some illnesses might not be. This system might not be used for not be useful for users with illnesses, and it can be improved to satisfy those criteria.
Okay, so I guess what I was trying to ask is the target audience, because I'm not under, is this going to be an app? Is this going to be a program on a computer? Is the target audience patients? Is the target audience physicians or nutritionists to use to help their patients? That's what I was trying to, that's what I meant by target audience.
Yeah, so it could be an app because we didn't implement the GUI.
Okay.
And yeah.
Okay, so that was kind of my question, because I didn't understand from the poster what was the end application.
Yeah, so we've
just,
only implemented
you designed the.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So Dr. Serene, if you could pull the next one up and I can introduce it, please. I can't see the top part. Our next poster is motivation wheel design for increased Saudi students' motivation to learn in blended learning environments, and it's by Sarah bin Jaman, Department of Information System, Imam Muhammad Ibn Saud Islamic University. Is Sarah here with us? Hi,
Hello,
Sarah.
everyone. Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah. So my topic is motivation with design for increasing student motivation to learn in blended learning environment. So I will summarize my work. This is a study designed proposed motivation wheels to help instructors during teaching to enhance student motivation in Saudi educational sectors, and how to use it web tools to increasing student motivation. So if you see the motivations wheel has 4 factors based on ARCS model, which is designed by Kellers, which these factors is attention, relevance, confidence, and satisfactions. So this is 4 factors are divided into strategies, correlated activities, and with tools. And each strategy is capitalizing the features of Web 2 tools to increasing the student motivation to learn in blended learning environment.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for this quick introduction. I appreciate it. This, of course, we're in COVID and everyone turned to online and remote during COVID. So what was it specifically, and these techniques have been used by a lot of universities. What was it specifically about Saudi students' learning styles that you have researched, because I didn't see it here in the poster, that you have researched that lended you to using these specific techniques in your carousel or your motivation wheel?
Maybe that the Saudi students preparing to a traditional learning environment She maybe I have the previous papers to measure the effect of using web tool technologies and student motivation and without using the web tool technologies. So I see the students maybe preparing to using the blended learning environment. So I focus to this to design this wheels to focus on motivation. Motivation, exactly.
So you have the research data showing that Saudi students learn in a certain way rather than the other way?
This paper, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. Dr. Serene?
Yes, thank you, Sarah, and thank you, Dr. Rasha. I have like a very small question about the metric or the metric, like different metrics that you've used to assess the performance. Like in particular, when you say that measures the effect of using Web2 tech, what measure are you referring to?
In the previous paper, I have two experiment research to divide the two groups of students, maybe the one group using Web2 and another doesn't using Web2 tools. So when I measure it, I see I can see it, they using Web2 tools that increasing student motivations inside blended learning. That's clear.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
So I think we're done with the poster session. Dr. Rasha, do you have anything else to add?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Rasha. So now we move on to the career session with Manara. The session chair is Ms. Susan Malaika. She is the ArabWIC Global Program Chair and from IBM in the USA. So Ms. Susan, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session from Manara. We're thrilled to invite Ileana from Manara, the founder and CEO, and also Maytem Raz. So over to you.
Thank you so much, Susan. I think Ileana ran for a little bit. Here she is.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for having us here today. I'm going to kick off the session with a very short introduction. I am the CEO and co-founder of Manara. And then I'm going to be handing it over to May, Leila, and Dalia to tell you more about what it's like to be a woman computer scientist in MENA, aiming for world-class jobs at companies like Google or really excellent startups that hire remotely like Replit. So Manara started off because we discovered that there were people in the region like Leila who have all the skills necessary to get jobs in the global tech sector, except that very last piece around actually getting hired. And the global sector would really love to hire people like you. It's a sector that's expanding really quickly. There are not enough computer scientists in the world. There's not enough really highly qualified and motivated computer scientists in the world. And there's a huge focus right now on diversity. Companies all especially are eager to hire women computer scientists. But what happens? Leila can tell you more from her own experience, and Dalia as well. A common experience is to have applied to jobs and have your resumes just stuck in a black hole. And so in Leila's case, she applied to 70 different companies or 60 different companies, and most companies just never got back to her. In addition to that, when you do eventually get interviewed, you get there and it turns out that the interview process is so completely different from anything you've done before that even though you have all the skills for the job, you were not able to demonstrate it through the interview. And as a result, you don't get the job. And so Leila, our CTO and co-founder, designed a program that's addressed specifically to help people from places like Palestine and Algeria and Morocco and Egypt and the whole region plug that gap and get their dream jobs, whether remotely or on site. And so the way that it works is that, first of all, you have to take a coding test to get in, just to check that you have basic coding skills. It's not a big deal. Everyone can take it. And then once you're accepted with your coding skills and also an assessment of your English language, because global tech companies are looking for people who can communicate in English, we then have an incredible 4-month training program, which is entirely remote. You do it at the same time as your schooling or your full-time job. And I think Dalia will probably tell you that the best part of it is not only the teachers who are from the actual global tech sector, so they're coming from companies like Netflix, Facebook, etc., but also the cohort itself, the community that ends up building. I was just talking to one of our participants yesterday who said that he never thought he could do this. He had imposter syndrome, which, by the way, never goes away. You just have to fake it till you make it. So let go of your imposter syndrome and act like you can do it. He really didn't think he could qualify for Manara. Now he's about to start interviewing at top tech companies, and he says that what motivated him was this community, this positive energy, and the structure that we provide. And so Manara provides that for 4 months. And then after that, a lot of mock interviews so that you can actually understand how this works and be ready for the real interview when it comes. Again, we have this incredible network of experts from tech companies around the world who will give you interviews exactly like the ones you'll have someday. And then finally, the last piece is that we have a hiring partner network. So we have a team that is constantly reaching out to tech companies and finding companies that are interested in hiring people like you and making sure that your resume goes to the top of the pile when you apply instead of the bottom of the pile. We are a social enterprise. And so the cost is such that we split it between the company hiring and the person participating, and you pay back at the end only if you get a job and are successful. Once you're at a company, whether it's like Google or a company like Upwork that hires you on their full-time team remotely, we charge a fee that you can completely afford, because often people's salaries are increasing 3x as a result of Manara, sometimes even 5x or 10x. And so it ends up being something that you can contribute back to so that we can run the next cycle. Those are the main things I wanted to say about how Manara works. The reason we're here today is because we just expanded out of Palestine. And so I think if you are in Palestine, you've probably heard of us already, but now we've opened our doors so that anyone in the region can join us. And so we wanted to make sure that all of you know and that all of your chapters know. And there's also some very specific things that we are learning about how to get these top tech jobs and then how to be successful in these jobs. And we wanted to make sure to start sharing those with a broader community in the region, even people who are not a part of Manara, so that we can spread this knowledge. And that's what Leila and Dalia and May will be talking about with you guys today. So thank you so much.
Just before you leave, Ileana, I wanted to check with everyone if you have any question for Ileana before she leaves, and then we will take it from there and start the discussion with both Leila and Dalia. Okay, looks like no
questions. Yeah, I think the interesting questions will be for Leila and Dalia, because they're the ones who've actually been through this kind of experience. So I'll be dropping off, and we're always here for you if there's anything that you would like our help with or thought partnership on. This is a community that we care about a ton. Thank you so much for hosting us today.
Thank you, Ileana. And we'll also like to thank you all again for having us for the second time during the conference. We really value the partnership we have with the Arab women ArabWIC community, and it's something that we really value, and we would like to continue doing a lot of such events so that we are empowering all women in computing in the MENA region. So Leila, before we get into the panel, anything you want to add to what Ileana mentioned about Manara and what we're doing?
I think she covered it all. I just, the one thing that I want to mention is, you know, I know sometimes imposter syndrome for women can be really, really tough and hard, but like, you just believe that you can do it. It's okay to have fear, but just get rid of your self-doubt. And as someone who grew up in Gaza, I had a lot of doubt, but I was able to do it eventually and make it to Silicon Valley for my first job. So if I can do it, you can do it too.
And just that I have you, and Ileana mentioned it very briefly, your job hunting process and how long it took you to figure out the process and know exactly what it takes. So anything else you would like to share and things you've learned and things we're trying to do at Manara now for that?
Yeah, so it's funny because I graduated the top of my class, or like one of the top students in my class, and I thought that I got it all, like, you know, I can pass any interview, I know it all. And then I moved to California. I moved to the US, and I did my first job interview with Cisco. So excited about the opportunity. Again, dressed up, showed up to the interview. I was like, okay, I'm ready to kill it. The interviewer gave me a very simple, now that I know the question, it's a very simple question. And she's like, code this up. I didn't even know what she's talking about. Like, it's not like I didn't know what to code. Like, she told me what to use, a data structure to use to code up the, she was like, use a hash table. Don't know if you guys heard of hash tables before, but it's some data structure that you learn in your, you know, computer science 101. Never heard of it before. So that moment was a realization moment that I just have a lot of work to do. And it's not a reflection of how good of a computer engineer I am. It just, I wasn't familiar with the process. I didn't know that this is what they require me to do or expect me to do in an interview. So I kind of learned the process by doing, like I threw myself in interviews and then basically observed what they asked me to do and then went back and learned it. But even to get my first interview with Cisco, it took me months and months of applying and not hearing back. So as Liana said, it was a black hole. Maybe applied for 50 to 60 jobs and like never heard back. They never heard of like Al-Azhar University in Gaza. Like, what is this? Or the companies I worked for locally, never heard of it. So my resume looked so untraditional and so like, you know, not very outstanding that it was easy to overlook. But I knew what I'm capable of. I knew that I am a good software engineer. Eventually, I got some friends to refer me, and this is the only way I got my first interview. And as I said, after I got the interview, I had no idea what to prepare for. I took the course before. I took like a data structures and algorithms course before in college, but I didn't think much of it. I didn't think that this is something they really value, because they want to assess your problem solving skills regardless of the programming language you use. But didn't realize that until I did the actual interview. After that, I went back and I retook the course. So it took me 3 more months of preparation and basically harassing friends to like do mock interviews for me. And then reapplied and I got my first job and I moved to California after that.
Yeah, it's always inspiring. And I think that Dalia kind of followed your footsteps, but went directly from Gaza to abroad. And Dalia, just a quick question for you. It's not an easy decision to make as someone living in Gaza, if you would like to stay working remotely from Gaza, or do you want to relocate and do you want to inside and picking between companies? And it's also interesting how suddenly your story went viral, because it's something that is very difficult to believe that a young girl from Gaza made it. And actually you just arrived and you're starting your internship at Google in Germany. So tell us more about that.
Yeah, sure. First, thank you all for joining us today. I'm really glad to share my story with you all. Like I joined Manara in 2020. I was at my second year of college. I'm studying computer engineering, and I started the technical training with Manara. I didn't have the course in college yet, like the data structure and algorithm. So I really started like basic. I didn't know anything about like small things about data structure and algorithm. And it was very intense because I was taking Manara while I'm studying, taking courses in the university. But I was really interested in the internship concept. Like I didn't know that there is internships that students get paid for working with companies, like they work as a full-time, like a normal employees in the company. And at first, when I saw Manara's post, like I had to search what is internships. What like I heard of Silicon Valley, but I thought it was really far. But I thought that I didn't have anything to lose, so I just applied, and I'm really glad I did. Like within 5 months with Manara, I got a referral to Google, which is insane. Like I still can't believe it. I just finished 2 months of my internship with Google. I still can't believe that it's happening. So what happened with me is I did the technical training with Manara, and when it gets to job hunting, I really felt that I wasn't ready. Like I was 100% sure that I am not ready for this. But Eliana and Layla always told me that we all have this imposter syndrome and never feel we're ready for anything. So I thought to myself, it's now or never. So I'll apply, I'll do what I get to do. So during when I get the interviews for Google, it was my midterm exams. So I had to split my time, like half a day for university and the other half for practicing coding structure, the structured algorithm. And I even asked the recruiter to schedule my interview because I really wanted to take this opportunity and not waste it. So like almost I stayed 1 month and a half with this stress, but actually it wasn't. I thought it would be very stressful, but I really tried to enjoy the process as I'm seeing myself like improving. I did the mock interviews with Manara, which has really helped me. Like I had interviews with Googlers, like I got the idea of the environment of the interview, what to expect, because I believe if I didn't have those mock interviews, as Layla mentioned, I wouldn't have passed the interview, even though I know how to answer questions, but because I didn't expect the type of the interview, that I wouldn't make it. So mock interviews really helped me. Even though at the beginning I didn't get the higher recommendation from the mock interviewers, but I kept asking for more, and eventually I've got my first higher recommendation before like 4 to 5 days of my actual interview. Yeah, that's what I can share.
That's amazing. And Layla, do you want to add something?
You're muted, Layla.
I love watching Dalia go through the whole process, because she started, as she said, it's like, I didn't know anything about data structure and algorithm, but then she worked so hard, and it was fun watching her go from no hire to like leaning higher. Then eventually she got her first higher recommendation from a practice interview that we provided. So it was fun watching her progress, and eventually she got the higher recommendation a few days before her actual interview with Google, and she nailed it.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it's sometimes unbelievable. Just it's like an unreal story that's happening in fairy tales only. So,
but yeah, it tells you that hard work really pays off. And
exactly.
the cool thing about software engineering is that it's a playbook. It's very predictable. If you do this one thing for 3 to 4 months and you work on that skill, which is like your coding skills and problem solving skills, and Manara has a really easy to follow recipe that provides for the participant. If you do this and you work hard on it, you're almost guaranteed that you can get your dream job by the end of the program.
Definitely. And wanted to follow up on that with you, Layla. And we have a lot of Dalias in the Middle East who are doubting that they are able to do it, and who are doubting to take that first step. Because they think that they don't deserve it, or they can't do it, or they are so scared. And we talked about the imposter syndrome and fear. And sometimes it goes beyond that, because once they apply, they are the best in our cohorts. They are performing the best, doing everything. And then they get amazing job offers. And then they're still questioning, did they make the right choice? Am I the right person to work with them? Why did they hire me? Even after they get amazing offers. So what can you tell them?
Yeah, one thing that I always see when people apply to Manara and we're reviewing the applications, Manara has like two parts. Like you take a coding exam, coding test, and then you actually fill the application. So we ask people to go take the test, and after taking the test, you go and fill the application. And what we're seeing is that a lot of women and basically women engineers, they take the test, they get a really good score, but then they feel the scares. They think because it's not the full mark, or I don't know, but like I could relate to that because it's not like the best score there is. It's like 800 out of 800. They feel discouraged and they don't fill the applications. And then we have a lot of guys with much lower scores, but they go ahead and file an application, and just filling the application could be basically the make it or break it factor. Like if I have your full application, coding test and one thing, but we also look at other things. So just don't screen yourself out. Like I feel that we women screen ourselves out too early in the process. So just try, just put yourself out there. And this, like the last job I got with NVIDIA, I thought, oh, I only have 2 years of experience. I'm not a senior engineer, but I decided to apply to a senior engineer position anyway, right? I was like, well, what am I gonna lose? Like, they're not gonna call me back. So what? I applied for like 3 other jobs. I'll get one of them. And guess what? They called, and I did really well in the interview. And turns out I'm a senior engineer after only 2 years of working in the industry. So my point is like, don't select or screen yourself out. Just try, just apply. You never know what people are screening for. Like in Manara, yes, we look at the test results, but it's not what makes it or breaks it for the application. We look at your soft skills, the way you express yourself, your background, your experience. So it's the whole package. It's not just the coding test. So yeah, I think that's it. But I also want to say that one of the most impressive participants in Manara were women, and I just wish we had more of them. So if you ever dream of getting a job at a global tech company, you name it, like whatever company you want, I think you should pursue that dream, and your first step should be applying to Manara because we can help you with that.
Exactly, and one reason that we really value our partnership with our ArabWIC community is that our commitment to empowering and supporting women from the region. And we have very specific goals for that we really need to make sure that we're reaching in regard to how many women we're accepting, how many women we're reaching out to, we're recruiting, and then how many women we're actually placing. So this is something that we're very committed to. And I would like to leave some time for Q&A, but I would also like to ask you, Dalia, and maybe then Layla, you can weigh on that as well, is that sometimes a lot of women also are scared of relocating. And they want to, but they are scared, and it's not an easy thing. And Dalia, you just relocated. So any tips you can share on how to successfully be onboarded into your new company? And in addition to that, how to deal with the cultural differences and cultural clashes? And I think it's 2 ways. The first time when you leave, that's the main culture clash you get, but then there's a bigger one if you are going back after your internship, that even a bigger culture clash. So how you deal with that? And we'll start with Dalia, and then Layla, you can weigh into that.
Yeah, sure. So I got 2 offers, and one of them were I had to relocate, and one of them were remotely. And I really liked the 2 offers, but I chose to relocate because first, for Gazans, it's one lifetime opportunity to have to live and like to have such opportunity. And then the second thing that I knew that how much or the impact, the useful impact that I'll have if I relocate for a different country, different culture, get to know new people. Now, as you mentioned, the decision is a thing, and when you arrive here is what like a whole different thing, and especially because I do it remotely. Like I had to relocate, but still I had the internship remotely. It's really hard at first to get involved, let's say, with the community, with the company, because you're in the room with your laptop, no one's around you. I felt like I was alone, like I was lost alone, because it's normal for the first week, let's say, of a new position that you feel lost, and especially with big company that we had to learn so many tools, so many rules about the company. I felt like I was overwhelmed, that I didn't know what to do. I was alone, that I'm the only one struggling. But what I try to do is I try to join every group they did, and every event. And the cool thing about Google, they have events for interns, like weekly, that we get to know each other, to know each other better, because it's really frustrating if you just dealt with your computer and no one else. Like we need to have social events, even though we're like far away from each other. And also try to have a conversation with my host, with team members, with my co-partner that I'm doing the project with her. So that really helped. After 1 week, I started to know how to manage getting familiar, or feeling involved with the community. And for, let's say, for the culture, like the new culture and people here, it's really good at first to make friends, so you can get familiar with the places here, especially with different language here. I don't know, like I know nothing German. I have zero German language. So what I did, of course, first I learned some basic like just introduction sentences or similar things. And then I always have my translating app with me, and they speak English here, so that also really helped. Yeah, like there are many things different than my hometown, but I'm trying to enjoy it, not to take it as like I don't know how to say it, but I'm trying to enjoy the differences.
Yeah, I think I'll add on that. First of all, Manara supports both remote jobs and relocation, so we don't have a preference for any of it. So if you prefer relocating to a new country, we support you with that. If you prefer remote jobs, we support you with that. And as Dalia said, she actually had 2 jobs offers. One is with Google and the other with Replit, which was remote, and she made her choice. We didn't prefer one on the other. And as I said, it's personal preference. So for me, like Dalia, I prefer to relocate. Like when I got a chance to relocate, I was like, hell yeah, I want to explore. I want to explore different parts of the world, and it was challenging. It wasn't an easy, like where to go grocery shopping, or where, like, where can I find the halal meat, or stuff like simple stuff like that. But what helped is actually connecting with people in the town you're going to before traveling. So they actually came and picked me up from the airport, or they came like the next weekend and they showed me around. They took me to a bank to open a bank account. And this is all that matters, honestly. Like you want someone to show you around, and then you're good to go. And then there's meetups. There's a meetup app that I installed, and basically it has like a list of all the events that happens around you, and you can search them based on your interests. So I honestly just wanted events with Middle Eastern food. So if there's any event that in the Arab community in town, I just went there and I met new Arabs. What else did I do that helped? yeah, so connect to people in the same town you are and try to find where the community hang out, basically through events. And then if you like me, I enjoyed the new experiences. So to me, it wasn't overwhelming. This is something I really wanted to do. I wanted to experience a different part of the world and new culture. So every new thing was an exciting experience for me. Other people just won't do it. They just strictly prefer remote, and that's fine too. I would actually, through Manara's participant, I saw people getting amazing remote job offers and staying in their hometown, like 5xing or 10xing their salaries while staying home. I would take this deal and stay next to my mom and like my family and still work on a very satisfying career. That's a great deal. So both options are great. I don't feel like you have to relocate to get a good experience career-wise. There's a lot of high quality remote jobs that you can pursue and grow in while staying home closer to family and friends. So both are fine.
Yeah, I want to add two simple points. First, about remote jobs, because actually I'm planning to apply for a remote job now for the winter internship, because I'll be having my semester with university. So I don't want to waste my time being away from tech market. So I want to apply for winter internships with remote opportunities so I can continue my studies in Gaza. The second point I want to mention Manara's role with relocating process. So, for example, any one of Manara's community get an offer with any country in the world. They all we do this group channels in Slack that they add any one in that country. For example, in Germany, for me, they made a channel that any one in Manara that is in Germany, that we can share fun places to go, or how to open bank accounts, how to do the taxes, and all these useful information. And the most important thing as well, that I had Manara's participant as well in the same internship as me, like my friends, 3 of my friends actually from the West Bank. We had to relocate to Germany to get an internship with Google. And the fun thing is we have our own group that we can share our new experiences with each other. And if anyone is struggling with anything, we can help each other. For example, insurance and getting papers done. We always help each other with this. And that's what Manara make difference in relocating process.
Yeah, I forgot about that, because now we have a lot of alumni, like people that we placed before, graduates from Manara, and they're all over the world. So when a new participant get a new offer in a new country, we already have people there. So we connected Dalia with people who were already placed in Germany before. So she already had a community from the Manara graduates before landing. And yeah, it makes me happy that you mentioned that it was helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that, so I'm glad you mentioned it, Dalia, is that we're growing now, that we're starting to have our small Manara communities in different countries to support those who are newly imported into the country. And also just wanted to add that, wanted to thank Leila, because to be honest, she just came back to work from a very long vacation in the Middle East, and she had no idea about this session, and we asked her to join last minute today, and I'm so glad she did, because her story, I know Leila's story from the beginning, but listening to it every time is always inspiring. So I'm glad you were able to join. And I think I will stop asking questions just to see if we have any questions from you here, because mainly we really would love for you to be to let us know what we need to do to help spread the word about Manara. A lot of the chapter leaders here, we're happy to connect. We're happy to reach out to your members in your country. We're happy to introduce your chapters to our women in the country, because they can be really great involved in your chapters and activities. So anything that we can do to grow this relationship and help spread the word and We all share the same goal. So I'll leave it to you to see if you have any questions for both Layla and Dalia.
Yeah, I would reiterate this, Mai. Like the Middle East is one of the few regions where more women study computer science than men. But we have most of these women who graduate with CS degrees are unemployed, high unemployment rates. In Palestine, 53% of the women, of the students who study CS are women, and 83% of those women are unemployed. And one of our goals in Manara and our main objective is to solve this gap. So, and not just in Palestine, but in the Middle East in general. And that's why I really value this opportunity to talk to you guys and welcome your suggestion to help us. Like, how can we approach women in different countries in the Middle East, like Egypt, Jordan, Morocco, Lebanon, like all of these chapters of ArabWIC, like how can we attract more women and convince more women to pursue careers in CS with our help and with the support system we would provide. Suggestions are welcome.
I know it's been a very long conference and we're the last session. So really appreciate you sticking out and would love
It's
to
very
hear.
inspiring, May, what you have shared with the audience. And I'm sure that everyone saying, oh my God, this is not only me. So when they have heard these stories, they are feeling that they are not the only ones who are facing or going through these experiences. So speaking aloud and sharing these experiences in our community is very important. Sharing how you can pass and how you found the gateway in order to find the job and the career, this is a big hope for everyone who is seeking career on graduation. And I fully agree. I was very inspired by Layla and Dalia. And maybe I will ask a question. So Manara gave you the hope. And I think Manara also, you need to be committed. And I have looked to the programs and you should tell the audience, for example, how many months you have sticked and be committed, because you cannot really celebrate the outcome till you really work hard for it. So I'm sure there is a commitment also from your side to Manara in order to reach to the target and to achieve your dream.
Dalia, do you want to answer this one because you went through the program?
Yes, sure. So yeah, especially of course, Manara requires a commitment, because if you, as Layla said, like Manara gives you a step, and if you follow it, you'll like almost guarantee that you'll get what you want. So at first, Manara requires 10 hours a week, which is manageable. Like I had to go study to my exams, have also my exams, attending classes, and I was doing the 10 hours a week, like solving code problems, doing mock interviews, like one a week. It's not that high requirements that we want. So also anyone with a full-time job or a full-time student in Manara. Now, when the job hunting began, it needs more, let's say, commitment time, but you find yourself able to do it because it's 4 months that you've committed with Manara. So you'll not feel that you're giving a lot of time now, or it's a little really that, but of course it requires I think you can do Manara with another thing, like you don't have to job or quit your study with Manara, I want to say.
Yeah, so it's Manara is a part-time program. So 1 session a week or 2 sessions a week. We usually say it's 10 hours a week for 4 months. This is the training program. After you finish the 4-month part-time, we have a job placement portion where we're basically referring you to jobs. And this can take from, depends on you, right? Takes from 2 months to 6 months or even more. And we support you throughout the process. So I would say it's a part-time program. You can do it in parallel with anything else you're going on in your life, but it needs a long-term commitment. Like you need to budget full 4 months for the training and then up to 6 months for the job placement portion of it.
Yeah, and we highly encourage that you have this while doing something else, because we're recruiting students and they are all still in the university, because we want to have them start early as possible so that they can get similar to that, an internship opportunity, and maybe then after that they start looking for a full-time job. And all of our participants are either university students or working full-time or part-time. So it's manageable, but it needs commitment, and you will have less social time maybe during that period, but it's much better to focus now and have that commitment instead of going back. Like Layla, she had to go through a lot to figure out the process. So now it's figured out, but you need to commit to learn how to do it. And why it's working, it's because when Layla and Ileana started it, it was because Layla learned it the hard way. So now we know exactly what it takes, and we have it in a very condensed, tense program, but it's all those skills need to be very fresh. That's why it can be spread over a longer period of time, because it needs to be fresh. You need to be doing a lot of behavioral and technical work and interviews and to be able to pass your actual job interview. So that's why it's tense, because we need you to be fresh and have all that. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes,
yeah, go ahead. Is the whole program exclusive only for software engineers and CS students, or do you welcome people from any other background, like say chemistry or physics, or but you can demonstrate that you have a coding experience? That's my question.
Paula is coming from mathematical background, but she's working in computing.
Okay, so if you're pursuing a computer engineering or a software, let me be very specific, software engineering jobs, then we welcome you, everyone. As long, like we're not gonna be able to get you a chemistry or a math research job, but we're focusing on connecting you to software engineering jobs. So if that's what you're pursuing, then yes, please apply, and we'll look into the application. Yeah, I hope that answers your questions. But yeah, so it's exclusively for software engineering jobs.
Yeah, because on the website it says computer science students or software engineers. So I was kind of confused.
Yeah, so if you're identifying as a software engineer because this is what you do, regardless of your degree, then sure, apply. But if your degree is chemistry and you're pursuing a job in chemistry, then we won't be able to help.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Sure.
I have another question I have, sorry. Do you also look at like research-oriented jobs or research engineering jobs, in the area of computer science?
The closest we have to that is machine learning and data science jobs. Sometimes your research is relevant and can count as experience, but we don't target research jobs in particular. It's just that space happens to be more research focused. We're looking into expanding to other jobs like data science, data analysis, computer, electrical, but like for now, it's mainly software engineering jobs, a little bit of data science and data and machine learning, but not our main focus, no.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think the reason is that we really want to learn how to actually perfect the process before we starting to include more fields. So we really want to have that all partners that we have are focusing on that, and we want to make sure that we're successful in doing this and we're doing it right before we start expanding, because then we will fail if we expand now.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. This is great. This is a great program. Thank you.
Yeah, and Kautar, to be honest, we would like a lot of people like you supporting us. I don't know, Layla, if you know, but Kautar is
I met her.
Yeah. And having someone like you will also inspire our participants, Dr. Kautar.
Yeah,
because I think I think we met in Grace Hopper conference a few years ago, right? Yeah, would love to have your support for sure.
Definitely, yeah. Let's connect offline. Be happy to help any way I can.
Yeah, and the funny, I met Kauthar as well at Grace Hopper, maybe the year before or after. So.
Yeah, so good to see you, ladies.
Yeah, it's a great place for. Hope it's gonna come back live soon so that we can get to meet again.
Yes.
So if
I
there's
have
any
Sana, she was having a question. Dr. Sana.
Yes, just like besides the background, are there any other requirement like the age or also are there any fees for the training?
So not age-wise, so you're welcome to apply. We encourage you as an intern early in your career, even those we have some who are now deciding to change their career path and they graduated years ago. So age is not something we look at, but the fees is, yes, there is a fee for the training, there is a fee for the job hunting program, there is, but you only pay when you successfully get the job you want. So it's not, you're welcome to pay upfront if you want to take that burden off your plate, but most of the participants wait until they get the job that they want, their dream job, so that they can afford it, and then that's when they start paying the fees of the training.
Amazing, very nice. Thank you so much.
I would like to have like one question. Do you have like any collaboration with universities in Arab countries? Like for my side, I am from Mansoura University, and I would be happy to invite you guys to introduce this program to my students. So actually, I just thinking because like we have IEEE chapter, like Grace Hopper chapter, like, so we can have like Manara chapter in every university in Egypt and all over the world. So I already like mentioned this now for my students because I have already group with them. So actually I am just thinking if you already like do a great job, especially for students in computer science and engineering. So actually, if we have like a hub for Manara in every university all over Arab world, it will be a great opportunity for all of us. Thank you.
That is what we would love to.
Love it.
That's why we're here. So I shared an email. Please email us. And for now, I don't think we have any participants from Mansoura, but we do have 3, I think, from Tanta. So we do have great, amazing participants from Egypt, and we want to grow more also in Egypt. And this small connections is really valuable because I reached out to one of the Arabic community here, I think Dr. Huda from Al Akhawain University in Morocco, and 5 of her students applied, and 3 of them are now graduating. So we would love to do that. This is the first time we're spreading, so we still don't have it, but yes, please reach out and we're happy to do anything with your students.
Yeah, especially in Egypt.
Yes, sorry. Go ahead, Leila.
Yeah, especially in Egypt, like I love our students from Tanta University and would love to be in Al Mansoura University too, and any university in Egypt or the Middle East. So if you think your university would be interested, please get in touch. Like, would love to start that partnership.
Thank you.
And if I might add, we could do this with partnership with ArabWIC, through the ArabWIC chapters. Yeah, let's work out maybe some formula where we have Manara, chapters.
We started, Dr. Kauthar. We are in the process, and actually we are now executing it. Yeah. So we need to make it now a long life partnership, sustainable one with a clear vision. Yeah.
Exactly. Great ideas.
Yeah, that would be great. We started it. We were growing that, and we also would like for our participants who successfully graduated and placed to be active members of the ArabWIC chapters in their country, so that they are also giving back.
Sure. Yes. Yeah. Any more questions for Manara? This is your chance. Okay, it seems to me that we covered all the questions, and I'm happy that there was interaction and engaging from the audience about Manara session. We look forward to continue this discussion offline, and hopefully we'll receive emails from our people discussing the opportunities and how we can make it or extending this type of partnership along with the other chapters, universities, and industries, because we have many also presented research papers, they are working in the industry. So by this, we are closing Manara's session. Thank you, May, Dalia, Leila, you are source of inspiration. We wish you all the best, and we hope that more people will join Manara and you will mentor them so that they can have successful stories exactly like you. So thank you so much again.
Let's have more women software engineers in the world.
Yes,
let's fix this.
Hey.
That's the goal. That's the goal.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
Really nice having you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Before you close the camera, we can ask everyone to open the camera and we have a group photo. Let's take a deep breath. We will announce the 5 hours. What do you think, Dr. Kauthar? Is people fresh, active by the end of the conference? Or?
Yes, yes. Please wake up, everybody.
Manar, you should have
went
back into our PJs.
Yeah.
No, that's okay. Everyone is beautiful. We like pajamas. You know, that's the trend right now.
Actually, being tired is a sign of success.
Not sleeping, right? Working around the clock.
I know many people, they will have to wear the hijab now and so that they can open
Just
the
be
camera.
done. Well, we need one for the eyes.
Even our participant to open the camera, don't worry about it.
Dr. Manar, there is a technology that can put hijab on you. Maybe we should start using that. Turn on a feature. We use an AI.
Definitely.
The generative models. Dr. Bushra, we should try that.
Yes.
Well, actually, there is one we can try. It's called SimSwap, and actually it's available on GitHub. Get on it, ladies, and you can use, we can have Manar's picture and then mine, and then transfer my face into yours.
Nice. Yeah, technology can solve anything. Bayan, are you with us? If you can open the camera as well, be part of the photo.
Leila, Professor Leila.
Everyone, we can wait 1 minute to put things and to prepare.
Yeah, let's get the hair done.
Yeah, we need to.
The hijab fixed.
That's nice. That's nice. So let's take now the screenshot.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Any other?
Anybody can also take a screenshot and we can share, and we take the best screenshot from everyone. Very nice. Very nice to see bright ladies. I told the men also they can open the camera. I don't know, maybe they are shy or what. We have some participants.
Yeah, they're our guests of honor. So it's thank you so much for joining us.
Definitely. We can take more than one screenshot so that we make sure everyone is with us. Because mashallah, there is many in this session, more than 60, around 60.
58.
58, yes. And one more. Keep smiling. Be happy. We are proud of you. We are all in one platform. Many beautiful names with many beautiful faces, and we are coming to the closing remarks very soon. Thank you so much, everyone. So the mic back to you, Dr. Kauthar, and I will share the screen so that you can make your closing remarks. We are excited to announce the winners.
Thank you so much, Dr. Manar. This has been really a great event. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Actually, I followed all the talks. They're all inspiring, all great, speakers and great research. And I would like to thank all of you, especially our audience, for being, patient and staying through all the sessions. Thank you so much. I wish, we could be, in the same room, under the same roof, in a real conference, and hopefully that's going to happen soon. Can you move on to the next one? So it was really hard, to choose the best papers and the best, posters. So it's a really hard decision. And very happy to announce, the best student paper awards. The first one goes to Hajar Ben Mizian from University of Polytechnique Hauts-de-France. Congratulations, Hajar.
Hooray!
Thank you.
Thank you.
A lot of work on neural
Excellent
architecture
presentation too.
and excellent presentation. I work closely with her. I mean, I'm biased, but the decision was done not just with me. So it was a consensus from the committee members. So thank you so much. And then the second one goes to Fahmiya Lotfi, which also did an excellent work.
Thank
and,
you.
congratulations.
Yay, alhamdulillah. Thank you
Mabruk.
so much. Thank you.
And
Thank
I
you.
would like really
Congratulations.
to emphasize that all the papers are winners. I mean, we wish we could give each one of you a prize. Thank you
Thank you so
everyone for
much.
all the
And
papers.
I would like to thank my professor, my supervisor, my mentor, Dr. Khalid Hamad. Thank you very much.
How much you will give him from the prize?
Hajar, would you like to say a few words?
Congratulations to Fahmi, and I liked all the articles and all the presentations and the posters and overall all the conference. So thank you for this conference and for organizing this conference. Also, the Manara session was really inspiring. So we'll be sure to keep up the work and to bring some more researcher and women into research and engineering in general. So thank you.
Thank you, Hajar, and
Congratulations to all of us. Yeah.
We can't hear the noise, Manar. I think you.
This is a clapping hands, Dr. Kauthar. Out of the happiness.
And then next is the best faculty or professional paper award. So we have Zina Benis from the Octopus Mimetic Data from France. Congratulations, Zina. And then the second one goes to Dr. Sarah El-Hishi from the Mansoura University. Congratulations to both of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Would you like to say any few words?
Thank you so much. I was really not expecting this. That's all. I was really happy to see this. I didn't know about ArabWIC at the beginning, but then I had a friend tell me about it, and I was just so interested in making us in strengthening the network of women in science. And I'm just thank you all for this great initiative.
Well deserved, Zinab and Professor Sarah, and all the other papers also were excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
And the next, last but not least, the poster. Dr. Manar, I think we lost the screen for a bit.
Yeah, I will get back. Just give me a second.
Sure.
I think it is frozen with the audio of the clapping the hands.
Too much excitement.
Too much excitement, exactly. I will share the screen one more time. And congratulations for those who we announced. And more suspense for the poster session. Okay.
Yay. So congratulations, Yaman, and the rest of the co-authors for the best poster award, Machine Learning Assisted Driver Drowsiness Detection System. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yaman, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, actually, we would like to first thank our supervisor, Dr. Ali Nu'man. Although he couldn't attend this conference today because of his busy schedule, but we send our thanks to him, and also for Dr. Ma'an. He attended the conference today and always supported us during our work and during our senior year. We also would like to thank the conference committee who arranged this conference, and thank you for all the presentations and providing this opportunity for us to deliver our work to you. And yeah, that's it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Yaman.
Congratulations.
Congratulations again.
And we also have a very good announcement. And actually, thanks to Dr. Bushra Buqatta for helping us organize this workshop. We're hoping to include this as part of the conference program, but we ran out of time. And we want to also make sure that this workshop gets the proper attention and the attendance. So we're announcing, this Amazon workshop, a very interesting workshop around introduction to text classification with Amazon SageMaker on AWS. With the experts from Amazon. So I hope you join us again next week. So this is kind of a continuation to the conference. And you can find the details here about the workshop. We'll also be posting this in our social media outlets and then on WhatsApp groups and so on. So I hope we see you again next week. It's Friday, September 3rd, 10 to 11:30 US Eastern Time. And sorry, we didn't get a chance to do the conversion to the different time zones. So please make sure to attend this very educational and interesting workshop and also increase your knowledge. Dr. Bushra, would you like to add any few words?
No, this is a really great opportunity for people if they're really interested in learning about AWS environment and especially SageMaker for machine learning and deep learning algorithms and how to deploy them and really run them. The application is more of an example application, but it could be extended to computer vision and others. And the good news, and this is the bonus for this, if people are really interested and if this is successful, we can have another series of that to tackle more how to train on a distributed environment. But this one is more of an introduction. And it's free, and then you will have free accounts, especially for academic purposes. You can keep using it. So I highly recommend it. You will gain a lot of knowledge here. And the workshop organizers, and I will be part of that. I will be supporting, but the person who's running it, she's really excellent. She does workshops worldwide for Amazon AWS. She's an excellent expert. And we have about 3-4 other volunteers who are helping, who are really working as solution architects for machine learning, and they're applied scientists and people who really work closely with this environment. So come equipped with a lot of questions and learn.
Yeah, just to remind everyone, so this one has a maximum attendee of 40. So it's going to be on a first come, first serve basis. So we'll share the registration link soon. So please try to get your seat as soon as possible once we announce that. Thank you so much, Dr. Bushra, for bringing us this great opportunity.
My pleasure.
We would like to thank our sponsors for their generous support. Without this, we wouldn't be able to have, the generous awards. So Dubai Electricity and Water Authority, Hayat Kahraba wa Miyah Dubai, and Bank Al-Imarat Dubai Al-Watani Emirates NBD. Thank you so much to our sponsors. And of course, all of this wouldn't have been possible without, the many hours of working and strategizing and reviewing and so on from our organizing committee members. We have had a great team, and I'm personally, so honored to have worked with all these amazing ladies, from all over the world, from different universities and also institutions. Thank you so much to our program committee co-chairs, Dr. Bushra Buqatta and Dr. Rabab Mizuni, to the publications co-chairs, Dr. Serene Talib, Dr. Fatin Kharbat, and Dr. Iman Brigi, to the program committee co-chairs, I think we have it double here, to the publicity co-chairs, Dr. Muna Nabil, Dr. Muhammad Nasser, Dr. Rasha Morsi, Dr. Dima Al-Hadidi, Dr. Huda Bouammar, and to our STEAMI committee members, Prof. Sana Oder, the chair and founder of ArabWIC, and Susan Malaika, who has done a tremendous job, getting this conference and also the other conference, in a great shape, and also
Yes,
Ms.
Susan.
Diane Jordan. So, Susan Malaika is a power horse, that we have for ArabWIC, and we're very thankful to have her. Thank you to everyone. And then, of course, the technical program committee who've spent a lot of hours reviewing the papers. And I don't have time to mention all of their names, but really we are deeply thankful for all the efforts you have done, and all the excellent reviews and paying attention to the details. And I hope the authors will benefit from all the reviews that you have managed to put together. Thank you so much. And finally, a great thank you for all the participants today. Thank you so much for your participation and for listening to all of us, and then to all the papers. And,
before you close, Kautar, we want to thank you and Manar and Leila for chairing this amazing research day and tremendous work going on behind the scenes. Kudos to you ladies, and Manar, keeping us really uptight and really on tasks. Excellent, excellent management.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Manar and Dr. Bushra and everyone.
It's a teamwork. It wasn't possible without each one of us efforts and hardworking and sincere heart and mind that have been put on this conference. So this is how we close. Dr. Kauthar, what do you think about this big achievement for this platform that combined all of these beautiful and brilliant researchers?
Yeah, I'm really, impressed with all the, the presentations and all this, all the great efforts. And we are hoping, to have the 8th edition of the conference, hopefully in Turkey, in person. So stay tuned for that. I hope, it's not going to be a virtual conference. I'm really tired, of looking at the screens. I want to see real people and sit in real tables. So we'll be working on that, and we'll share with all of you as soon as we can. Yes. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Manar.
Thank you, Rabab.
All right, take care. All the best to everyone. Please send us your feedback. I'm sure we've done mistakes along the way. So if you have any suggestions how to improve the conference, what contents we need to focus on, we're all ears, and we're happy, to hear from you. And we would love to improve, this. So please,
and stay tuned, because SCM will contact you.
Yes, all the authors.
There is the publication.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, if you can share your slides with us, we will post them in PDF format in the conference website. So it's going to be great content that we would like everyone to benefit from.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
شكرا للجميع. مع السلامة.
مع السلامة. Bye.
Thank you. السلام عليكم.
السلام ورحمة الله.
شكرا.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
شوية كوثر مناضلة لآخر لحظة.
احنا الهوست, so we have to be patient.
بدي أقول لك هذه صوت الكلابس ما طلعت حلوة؟ لأنه بجرب أعملها، بدي أعملها بكرة للفوريوم، بس إذا مش حلوة بقى حشيلها.
بس أنا I couldn't hear it.
Yeah, it wasn't clear.
والله؟
Yeah.
أشيلها يعني لبكرة؟ طلعت إنه يعني هي في ناس بتزقف.
يا ما سمعتها أنا. ما سمعتها مش عارفة يعني maybe the sound was not shared.
بيان سمعتيها؟
هلا في one of the slides it started but then every time it always got muffled وبعدين بالأخير ما بعرف لأنه إذا الناس عم يحكوا so it got cut off. You know when someone else is talking the sound gets lower. Maybe that was it. I'm not sure. But yeah, it wasn't really clear.
Okay. يعني أشيلها أحسن من السلايدز بكرة.
You can keep it and maybe يعني maybe it's gonna work. I mean it didn't bother anything so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
If it works,
أنا الوحدة اللي بحس بالكلابس. مبسوطة عليها كل شوي بضغط عليها والناس بتزقف. الله يا الحمد لله خلص على خير. ادعي لنا يا كوثر لبكره انت معانا. الله يكون في عونك. معلش بتتعبي معانا على السيشن تبعت الها.
مش مشكلة my pleasure.
خليه بس هي 20 دقيقة يعني إن شاء الله ما بتكون يعني شيء متعب. إن شاء الله.
إن شاء الله هبعت لك my slides just in case I have issues so then you can share.
Yes definitely yes. يعطيك العافية.
شكرا.
حبيبتي. بيان يعطيك العافية.
الله يعافيك دكتورة يعطيك العافية أنت كمان والله.
المفروض نحط اسمك كان بالorganizing committee.
volunteers يعني مساعدتكم في الزوم. شكرا والله شغل جبار. شكرا.
احنا نسينا نشكرهم يا كوثر.
تيم ورك
يا شكرا بالطبع. يعني أنا I was thinking they're part of the organizing committee منار so
كان المفروض نضيف الأسامي. أنا بتعرفي بيان أضفتها يعني قبل ما ندخل السيشن أضفتها ديك السلايد وأكبر شيء فيها غلط حطيت البروجرام تشيرز مرتين.